Hi, everybody. Welcome back to A Gal from Cleveland. This is Tamika Shanea. Before we get started, I do want to put a disclosure out. So, this episode will discuss online grooming, emotional manipulation, and mental health. So, listener discretion is advised. Let me just fix this a little bit. All right. So, as I said, welcome back to A Gal from Cleveland. I am your host, Tamika Shanea, and today we're going to talk about a lot of things, okay? So, today's episode is very deeply personal. I do have a special guest here with me in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. My second oldest son, Savion, and I are going to have a real conversation about online grooming, about emotional manipulation, mental health, healing, and survival. So, this conversation may help another parent, another young person, or someone silently carrying shame from something that happened to them online, as well as in person. But we're going to talk about Savvy's life journey and what some things that have happened to him. So, let's get into it. So I'm gonna ask Sebi a couple questions. It's just gonna be me and him, mommy, son. We're just gonna be chopping it up, talking, and hopefully this will help out some other people that might be going through the same thing. So, son, how would you describe yourself to all the people on here that don't know you?
I would describe myself as charismatic, pretty funny, a little smart here and there.
Okay.
Um, I'm really just a happy-go-lucky guy when I want to be.
You are. What else would you describe about yourself as far as attributes, as far as like um, if somebody walked up to you right now and they was like, okay, hi, and you introduce yourself to them and you say, hi, my name is Savion. They say, hi, my name is such and such. How would you start that conversation off?
I would just be like, it's nice to meet you. It's nice to, get to know you. I would tell them a little bit about myself. Say, I'm an artist. Uh, I I write. I do a lot of things. Really, it's a whole list. It's a lot to list. So we'll be here all day.
Ah, yes, he does, everybody. He does a lot of stuff. So let's go back to when you were 16. How was your life then?
It was pretty hard. A close friend of mine passed away. He took his life when I was 15.
Oh, sorry, Sadie.
His final words to me were, well, "Whatever happens, just know it wasn't your fault." And I took a lot of that blame for myself for like the rest of the year because I should have. Part of me felt like I should have known something was wrong with the way he was acting. Um, how his demeanor was, like he wasn't himself. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the happy person that I knew personally.
Okay.
uh, I blamed myself for like an entire year because of that, and I grew. That was my first time getting depression.
Oh, wow. Okay. So at that time, it sounds like that's when you were online a lot. Is that when your online presence started, or when exactly did it start?
I would say it started around that time because grew very protective of people.
Okay.
I didn't want anyone to think suicide was the answer, so I became very overprotective of everyone. I tried to talk them out of it, and I know you can't save everyone, but I wanted to I wanted to be that person to be like, you can save everyone. You can. You just
Okay.
have to try.
So you were trying to be more of a mental health advocate. So you
At a
wanted,
young age,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So what were your interests back then? Like, what did you like to do?
I like to write stories a lot, like fan fiction and stuff like
Okay.
that. And I feel like a lot of people will relate to me. We were all young. We all did it. We all read it. We all did it. Don't be embarrassed.
Exactly.
Um, I did a lot of stuff like that. It got very popular. A lot of people are asking me how did I get my inspiration, how did I get this, and I'm just like, it's all just in here. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
coming up with it. So really, writing was something I was really interested in. I wanted to make my own TV show, uh, but I needed the money, and me being 15, 16 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get any of that yet. So I was a little bummed out by that, and I didn't want anyone to work for me for free because I'm not that type of person. If you're going to work for me, I want you to expect that you're going to get paid. You know what I mean?
Okay. So when you mean work for you, so what were you doing exactly where you had people that were willing to work for you?
I told them, hey, I'm working on a show. It's going to be half animated, half like picture frame, frame by frame. They were willing to do it for free, and I was really hesitant about it because I was like, I don't want you to work for me for free.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were trying to do a show and you were going to hire people, but you wanted to make sure that you were able to pay them.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. That I mean, hey, I wish at 15, 16 I did that. So, it leads into this question. So, how important was social media and online connection for you at that time?
At that time, it wasn't that important until I met a close friend of mine. I
Mm-hmm.
won't bring her name into it. Uh, Me and her were really close at a very young age. Uh, Her father passed away when she was, I think, what, 11 or 12.
Okay.
And I was there for her most of the time. We grew close, like extremely close. We became best friends. Um, and then online presence, uh, I really wanted her to meet my close friend, but then I remembered, oh right, he's no longer here, and
Okay.
I feel like he and her would have gotten along.
Gotcha. Okay. So, as far as you said your online presence really started like about 16. And unfortunately, after your friend passed away, because you wanted to basically be a mental health advocate towards people. So, at what point did you realize once you did that, something wasn't right? Or when did you notice certain things were not right when you were online?
I noticed certain things wasn't right when I came across Mac. Mac at that time, I don't remember what his age was when I was 16, but I know that he dated a lot of underage underage people, and I was really confused because I was like, how can a guy have this many girlfriends at once? He had a lot of underage girls, and he had one of age one that he blatantly ignored. Um, a lot of people have came to me as like, oh, I'm in love with him, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that, and I'm like, you realize he's this age, right?
Mm,
Like, you do know how weird that is. And people are young and they're not going to listen to you. I was that exact same way, but it was just mind boggling to me, like how he had this many girlfriends and he was dating them. And I was like, something's, it's just not clicking to me. What do you see in him? You do know he's like way older than you, right? You're 13, you're 12, you're 11, you're 10. That's even worse.
whoa, 10. Okay.
So
That's crazy.
I was just confused.
So what was he, and we've spoken the name. We're not going to say the name anymore, but we've already spoken it. Um because we're gonna, it's certain things legally, but um, as far as that person, well, we'll change the name. We'll change it to Evil. So as far as Evil goes, um, how, you said you didn't know his exact age. Was Evil around your age or was Evil older?
Evil was older,
Okay.
incredibly older.
So was Evil more towards 18 or was Evil in his 20s? What do you say?
Evil was around 18.
Okay. So Evil was older.
Yeah.
Evil was dating, online dating,
Yeah.
not physically dating, but online dating young girls as young as 10 years old, and he was 18. Now, this is my question.
Mm.
When did you notice Evil was trying to groom you?
I noticed when he started guilt tripping me, when he was like, why is it that I do the things that I do? Why can't I keep any friends? Stuff that would make you feel pity for him.
Okay, so a narcissistic type
Yeah.
of situation.
And of course, I fell for it because, I'm 16.
Mm.
I felt bad for him. I'm like, Evil, you're not that, you're a good guy. It's just, you made some really stupid choices. I think you're a good guy. And Evil had feelings for me. Like, he liked me a lot, but I didn't feel the same way about him. And, I never told him that. I felt like it was obvious because every time he would flirt with me, I would just like push it away.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was obvious. Like, yeah, I don't like you that way. I just want to make that clear. We're friends, nothing more.
So do you think, okay, so from what I'm getting from the situation, he had romantic feelings towards you
Yeah.
as far as, okay. And you, because you're heterosexual, you didn't have those type of feelings for him, but you never told him, hey, you pushed it away, but you never was like, hey, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in you in that type of way. Okay. So when exactly do you feel like the grooming started with him? Like, I know you said he was guilt tripping you, but when do you feel like it became a point of he was manipulating you to do certain things that you didn't feel comfortable doing online?
Well, it started with threats. Like, I convinced his girlfriend to break up with him. His of age girlfriend, to be specific.
Okay.
Uh, he somehow found out. I doubt she told him,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know how it reached out to him. Um, he found out, directed to me. He was like, F you, F you, F you. How could you do this to me? You ruined this, etc., etc. And I'm like, you did this to yourself. I'm not going to let her stay with someone who is doing this to minors. And he made a threat, which I'm not going to say, it's very graphic. He made a threat, and it impacted me a lot. I don't know if it was true, but I didn't want to take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
So I did whatever it was they wanted to keep that person safe, along with close friends of mine to keep safe.
Okay. So he started threatening that he would do things to your friends.
And the girl.
Okay. So he found out that you, or maybe she told him that. Well, no, you said she didn't, but he found out that the girl, she broke up with him, the of age, and how, as I'm trying to explain it, how exactly did you tell her what he was doing online as far as these young girls, and that's why she broke up with him? Or was it just a situation of she just didn't want to be a part of any relationship with him, or what exactly? Just a short man story short.
So short, long story short, I did tell her. I
Okay.
told her, you know, he's dating all these underage girls, and you really need to break up with him. It was hard at first because she didn't want to believe it,
Mm-hmm.
but the evidence was just piling. Like,
Okay, so you had evidence to show her. So that's why. Okay. So I guess my question is why she, if she knew this was going on with him, why she didn't report him, or why she didn't tell anyone that he was doing this? Because I know me and your conversations and what I've said to you as far as like fake identities and things like that, I just feel like the type of people that are online like that, especially on chat sites and just social media, period. A lot of them, like I know me and you talked, and I had even told you, I said, well, Savion, sometimes you have to be careful who you're talking to as far as like telling everything about your life, because people are, they'll say they're 16 but they might be 40, or they might say they're a girl but they might be a boy. It's just different situations. I know me and you have talked about. But do you think people underestimate how manipulative online predators can be, as well as predators in person? But you never dealt with that. You don't, this is more online for you. So do you feel people underestimate that because it's online versus if it was in person?
I wouldn't say people underestimate it, but they do kind of undermine it,
Mm-hmm.
which is really crazy to me
Mm-hmm.
because I really don't think that, chronically online people know how predators work.
Right, right.
They claim that they do, like they just get it off the first thing that they search for, and
Mm-hmm.
then suddenly all knowing, they know everything about it. But there's a lot more to it. There's manipulation, there's guilt tripping, there's, as you said, narcissistic.
Yep.
There's so much. It's not just one thing. That's that's what kind of bothers me, that I think some people don't get. They just think it's one thing when it's a multitude of things.
Exactly. Okay. So, for you, what made the situation emotionally confusing? As far as, because you can tell the audience how long this actually happened to you. I know you told me, but if you feel comfortable enough to tell the audience, you can let them know how long that evil was doing this. And also, just in your own words, how emotional it was for you as far as confusing. Like, I do remember it was a point a couple of years ago when you thought you were bisexual. And of course, we embraced it because, we are part of the allies. Um, but then we also kind of questioned it with you because we never saw that in you. So just, I mean, from your perspective, just tell what made the situation confusing for you, and um, what finally made you like just break this thing. Like, hold up, this is not right. I'm not doing this no more. Blah blah blah.
What made it stop was pretty much the older I got, he started to lose interest in me.
Mm.
So I want to say around when I was 20, maybe 21, he and me started to like break apart. Uh,
So
but
this was from 16 to 21.
yeah,
Okay.
so about probably a good 6 or 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
almost a decade. Um, with the with the bisexual thing, I kind of discovered that I was bisexual like at a young age. I want to say 8 or 9, because I had a crush on a guy in my classroom. Um, I didn't really start to embrace it until I reached my 20s. And even still, I didn't have feelings for evil. I didn't have feelings for him. I I even told him that, and I guess that's what made him lose interest in me because he's like, okay, yeah, I can still manipulate him, but I'm not going to be able to get with him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, wow. I mean, I know a lot of this, everybody, but it's still, some things Savy says, and I'm just like, oh my God, So, I guess my biggest thing is, because you did deal with this for such a long time, and I know a lot of things that unfortunately did happen, we were kind of confused about, but we didn't know what was going on because you didn't tell us. And we thought, honestly, you were just acting out and being on like some real crazy stuff. Because I know it was like an incident that was on Twitter, and we were like, huh? We were kind of confused. And actually, I didn't discover it. One of his siblings did. And then his sibling had came to me and said, yo, my brother on some crazy stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then so we saw it online. And I even confronted Savion. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you online doing this stuff? But then once he really started talking to me and telling me what was going on, he had told me that that was part of the manipulation that evil was doing towards him as part of threats and different things like that to make him do stuff that he didn't want to do. So, um, I guess my thing is like I've told him, I kind of wish earlier he would have told us what was going on. But I get it at that type of age. You're still a teenager, from 16 to even hitting 21. And the thing is, to be honest, Savy never went to school. Like we've always had him homeschooled. He's been preschool, but he never went to an actual brick and mortar school. And that was, something I did ask him later on in life if he wanted to do that. He chose not to, where his younger siblings did. But he said he didn't feel comfortable going to a brick and mortar. I didn't, force the situation. So a lot of times this is kind of why Sadie was able to be online a lot more than probably an average teenager because he was home more. But my thing was once Sadie really did start talking about it, is just a couple of things which we'll get into later, but it was just a lot of things that happened this year that made us get to this point. So I guess my next question would be, say, because this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So how did this experience affect your mental health?
It affected it a ton. I mean, I lashed out at my friends a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
lashed out uh, at random people. I mean, my mental health was super, super low. And I, for the longest time, could not figure out why. I was like, why am I so angry? Why do I feel this way? Why do I
Mm-hmm.
feel depressed? When the answer was right in front of me. But I guess I didn't want to believe it
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, I trust this guy. I've known him since I was 14. And he's never done anything like horrible to me when yeah, he did.
So you feel like the things that he was doing, they weren't horrible? Like we're not going to get into, because I feel like that's just bringing up old trauma for Savy. So we're not going to get into like a lot of things that Savy told me. A lot of it is graphic. A lot of it is very, like, and I don't want to traumatize my son because he's been through a lot with this. And he was, he was willing to come on here and speak and tell his story. But a lot of things that this person had him do and things like that was very, very crazy to me and very disrespectful towards him because at his age, there's no reason he should have been online doing the things he was because of this guy like making him feel guilty about his friends and, just narcissistic behavior. And my thing is, even after everything, Savy, that you dealt with and you finally came out and speaked out, and I commend you for that, because a lot of people, and a lot of people will watch this, they probably are scared to say things and they're probably holding all of this in. So, do you struggle with shame and anxiety as well as trust now? And do you still feel like you're isolated after this situation?
I do, because a lot of my friends are no longer my friends. I can't contact them. Some I haven't even spoken to in a month now. Uh, yeah, there's a lot of shame that I feel and guilt that I wish I told people, but I guess, at a young age, you're just like, nobody's going to believe you. They're just going to think you're acting out. They're
Mm-hmm.
just going to think you're doing this and you're doing that and you just want attention. So I guess that's why I just kept it to myself. And the more I kept it to myself, the angrier and more upset I got.
Okay. So another thing is that um you say, as far as your friends and everything like that. So I do know it was a couple of instances that happened that unfortunately you did lose some friends. You did say something about you did have a thing of lashing out at people, and it's kind of like, did people know what was going on with you, or were you like that close knit that you didn't tell nobody, you know, that this was going on? And then the sad thing about it is these people actually knew evil. Everybody knew evil, but didn't know what evil was doing. And evil wasn't just doing it to you, he was doing it to several others. It's just, you can only speak about your journey. You can't speak about everybody else's, but you kind of found out at the end it wasn't just you that he was doing this to. And it does sound like that it did impact like your relationships, and it sounds like your confidence level. And as far as survivors of grooming, do you feel that people, because you did mention that you feel like at that time you felt like that nobody would believe you. So do you feel like now, at you'll be 26 in a couple of days, shout out to Savvy's birthday coming up on the 26th of May, and he will be 26. Thank God he is still here. We'll talk about that later. But um, do you feel like now you speaking out about it, even though you've had some instances of people being on some BS? Do you feel like now everybody is kind of believing what you're saying, or you feel like people are still on some bull? Because I know personally, me and you have talked. You already know I believe you. Your grandmother believes you. Your siblings believe you. Your stepdad believes you. Everybody in the family believes you, and we're here 100% for you. But do you feel like, even because I know you have mentioned that you've spoken to your friends at work, you've spoken to people outside of the house and things like that, but there is still some a-holes online that want to still try to give him trouble because of things that happened in the past, and he has apologized about it, which was due to the grooming. But do you feel like people still don't believe what you're saying about what happened, even
I
though you've shown evidence? He has evidence, he has receipts. One thing about my kid, he go keep receipts. So he's shown me everything, like, so that's how I know he's not lying, and he wouldn't have no reason to come on a show and lie about his what he's dealt with, because even he knows when I was younger what happened to me, and he knows certain situations and things like that. So it's no reason for him to lie about anything that happened to him, especially with online grooming. But getting back to the question, do you feel like that you know people are still not believing you, even though you have evidence, even though you apologize,
And yeah, I feel like people don't believe me, even though I've, like you said, shown evidence.
Mm-hmm.
I've apologized. I've even apologized several times. And I was even told it's not going to take an apology to have all of it magically go away. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's not what I'm
What you're trying to do.
that's not what I'm
Right.
trying to do. I'm trying to atone for my actions because they're my own.
Mm-hmm.
I chose to do them because I was hurting and I wanted to pass my pain off to others.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it was really selfish. It was evil. It was awful, and I would never want anyone to feel that way ever.
So getting to our mom daughter, I mean mom daughter. I'm sorry,
So
mom son,
funny.
mom's son, because I do have three, including Savi and my daughter. So getting to our mom's son dynamic. So was it like really hard to open up to me as your mom, even though me and you have like a close relationship? Like I personally was very shocked because me and Savi literally talk about everything. And so I was just very shocked that he was really like um well, he didn't open up to a lot of people. He didn't really start opening up to probably what, last year?
Yeah,
Yeah, about this. So was it really hard to open up to me as your mom, even though we have a close dynamic?
yeah. It was really hard for me to open up to you because I felt like you would be disappointed in me. You would be upset with me. Not only upset with me, but also upset with evil.
Oh,
But
well, I'm gonna always be upset with him.
well, yeah, I didn't want you to go above and beyond and like try to track this person down, all because of what happened. And I mean, I get it, it's very serious. I'm not trying to like downplay it or anything.
Right, right.
It's it was a lot. It was a million thoughts running in my head. Like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Like, what if this happens? And it just drove me crazy. It drove me insane. So yeah, I would say yeah, it really made me feel guilty uh, not telling you, but
Um,
also telling you.
right. Well, as he knows, I was not upset at him. I mean, things happen, unfortunately. We can't watch our kids 24/7. But like, what do you feel young people need from their parents during situations like this? Because your situation is not new. It's, we've seen movies about it, we've seen books about it, um, videos, where I remember I was watching a show. The young lady, she was talking to somebody online that she thought it was a young boy. Turned to find out it was an old man. She had left to meet him at a hotel. Good thing her parents no, the best friend knew. So the best friend told the parents. The parents ended up calling the police, and then he got arrested. But what do you feel young people need from their parents in type of situations like this?
I feel like that they need their support. Like for one, if
Okay.
you if you remember Amanda Todd, um, she went through having her private things leaked
Mm-hmm.
by an old guy and the FBI. I don't know if the FBI tracked them down. I feel like they did,
Mm-hmm.
but she has like a whole foundation about her, and I feel like that's something. I feel like that's something that young people need to realize. It's okay. Like you don't need to feel guilty. You don't need to feel scared. And I get it. It's scary. Trust me,
Mm-hmm.
I know. I went through it.
Yeah.
But you if you keep it held in, you're going to end up pretty much like me. And I don't think any of you want that, cuz I'm going to be the first to tell you it sucks. It's not a good feeling.
So, what helps you feel supported now? So, just before you answer that, we're just going to kind of get into just a quick little scenario. So, some things that happen. And this year was not on my bingo card from my loving son, which like stressed me out. So Savy was going through a lot. He was going through a lot. Even though he had told us what had happened and everything like that, it still was emotional. You know, it was an emotional situation for him.
Emotionally draining.
Yes. So, um, unfortunately, Savy did have to go to get some help, which I'm sure now he doesn't. It's not like he's afraid to tell anybody about that. That's one of the reasons we decided to do this show, because he said all bets are off. He was willing to talk about everything. So the thing is that Savy was having some suicidal thoughts. A friend of his, he had told him to. She had called the police. They came to the house, grabbed, they not grab Savy like that, but they took him to the hospital, because normally, when it comes to suicide and things like that, that's very, 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 very important. Like, you can't play around with that. So Savy did end up going for like 5 days to a mental ward. After that, Savy was out probably about maybe a month. And then he called and wanted to go back in because he was having some thoughts again. Then Savy came out 2 weeks later. He was talking to a friend of his, and that's probably who he's referring to, that he said he hasn't talked to in a while. Um, and her sister ended up calling, and the police that came to the house, and they came and got Savy. Well, actually, we ended up taking Savy to the hospital, but Savy was in the hospital. And I do recall Savy saying this last time he did not want to do that anymore. So I am proud to say that Savy has not been back, but he feels that, it did help him to the point of where he is now. Of course, unfortunately, he's not like 100%. We don't expect him to be, but I do feel like that Savy is way better than he was, because it was a lot going on. It wasn't just the evil situation slash Mac. It was other things going on with his online friends. And the biggest thing I've always told Savy is you can't mix your online and your real life. And that's where it was. It was like they were intertwining with each other. And I had to tell him, you gotta like separate them. And I feel like now maybe Savy is learning that. So to answer that question that I asked you, what makes you feel more supported now that you kind of went through that situation of going to, the mental ward a couple of times? You kind of seen what it's like. You don't want to deal with that again. You have met some people that you said that you're cool with, but you don't want to go back to that situation again. So, what now makes you feel supported, family wise, friends wise?
You guys, of course, and I will definitely want to say Cole, Michaela, Heather, a lot of people. Uh, of course, shout out to them. Um, they were they were hella supportive of me, very. And when I told them what happened, um, Cole was pretty much the most upset.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he showed the most emotion out of it, because he is like, I feel like Evil was bluffing. I feel like he was bluffing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that he knew he had you at the palm of his hand.
Oh yeah.
And he was bluffing. He didn't know where that person lived. He didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know anything. If anything, he was trying to humiliate you.
Mm-hmm.
Not only try to guilt trip you, but also humiliate you. And I started thinking more and more about that. I was like, what if he didn't know? And if he didn't know, I could have definitely told somebody, but I didn't know that.
You were at the point of, he had you manipulated to the
brainwash.
Right. He had you majorly brainwashed to the point of no matter even, and he probably was bluffing. He definitely probably didn't know where none of your friends lived at, but he had you to the point of, I'm going to get you scared. You, I'm gonna tell you I know where they're at, and then get you to do whatever I want you to do and be satisfied. That was the way he satisfied himself, was to make you guys look stupid doing the things that he had you guys doing. So that's where I feel like, it was an emotional dependency. He had y'all emotionally dependent on him, and he definitely was gaining y'all's trust to the point where y'all thought, oh, what I'm doing is not right. I mean, what I'm doing, in your mind, you feel is right, but it really wasn't, because you're trying to help your friends. You're trying to save your friends from this evil person. So that's what it was. It was manipulation tactics that he did on y'all. But just right now is a couple questions I'm gonna ask you. So, like, what helped you regain your peace, if you have your peace right now?
Um, I think what helped is finally talking about it instead of staying silent for so long. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I say I kept it in for so long, I kept it in for so long. I can't express how painful it was constantly thinking about it. And I'm just thinking, what if nobody's going to care? What if nobody's going to believe me? What if?
Mm-hmm.
I have all these what if scenarios in my head, and I haven't even tried it out yet. Like, you haven't even told anybody yet. Where are all these scenarios coming from? And it was guilt, it was
Mm-hmm.
fear, it was a lot of things that were going on in my head that, it just stayed in there and just kept going like a blender.
Right. So what? Ooh, this is deep, y'all. This is deep. So, what does healing look like for you now, as far as, you're regaining your peace. You're trying to move forward, as we've all told you, including, your counselors and everything like that. So, how does healing look like for you? Like, what does it look like for you?
Um, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know what does it look like for me, but I would say, I guess the fear is just no longer there. But I won't lie, I do miss the friends that I had. I miss I miss laughing. I missed all the things that I had like earlier this year. And then having all that go away and you're just kind of sitting in silence. It's not scary. It's a hard thing to describe.
Yeah. So what, as far as, because you're 25 now, and you dealt with this from the time you were a teenager to almost young adulthood. So, what would you tell another young person that's experiencing something similar to you? So, say someone's watching this and they're like, they're going through what you went through. What would you say to them?
Tell someone, please. I can't express this enough. Please tell someone. Tell tell anyone. Your mom, your dad, your grandfather, your dog. I don't care. Tell anyone. You Because if you just stay silent about it, it's not good. You're a victim. You're But you can also be a survivor like
Mm-hmm.
me. I survived that.
You did. You did. You definitely survived. Yes, he has, y'all. He has survived. It's been a lot, and I have to give Savy like credit for even coming out and saying something. And what would you tell parents? So, like, I know what you told me, but like, what would you tell a parent who might just now be finding out that their child has been groomed online, or has had like a narcissistic type of situation where somebody is guilt tripping them into doing things, because they're telling them, oh, I might do something to your family, or I might, kill your dog, or I might find you. I know exactly where you live at. It's always somebody that's, going to threaten to get what they want. So what would you tell parents if not only if they don't know, but once they find out? So it's like, kind of like a two-parter.
I would say reassure them, like let them know that everything is going to be okay. They don't know anything. They're not going to do anything. And if they do, it's just one 911 call away.
Mm-hmm.
Or worse, the dad will get involved.
Or brothers.
Or brothers. Either way, it's going to take more than a 911 call.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say reassure them, just help them feel at ease.
Okay. So, as far as I know, you said you miss your friends and things like that. So, as I remember, me and you had a conversation. I even told you, I said, Savy, unfortunately, people are in our lives for reasons and seasons. And I know these are people that you have been friends with for years, unfortunately, that like now because of the situation being blown out of proportion, you finally coming out telling people, you showing receipts, and as I told you, some people, they don't like to get involved in this type of stuff, so they try to back away. They'll stop talking to you, they'll block you, they'll do all sorts of things because they don't want to be involved with it, even though they can believe you to your heart content, but they don't want to be a part of it. So, like, as far as the friends that you do have, so you do have outside friends. So he does have outside friends. Everybody, he have friends at work, and he also has, as he mentioned, the people that he met when he was staying in the rehab. So, as far as those friendships go, how do you feel about those friendships? I know you're missing your previous friends. You do have a couple of friends you do still online that you do talk to. But as far as your new friends, like what are you trying to accomplish friendship wise with them? They do know what happened to you. They're very supportive of you, which is really good that you have a support system like that outside of the house. So what are you trying to do as far as um, your real life relationships versus your online relationships?
I guess not have it as similar as my online friendship, just something different. I just want to I want to feel like myself again because as of late, I haven't drawn, I haven't wrote anything. I just have not been in a creative mental space because, of everything that's happening right now, as you mentioned, with online.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been in a very creative place. It's the last thing that I'm constantly thinking about. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to feel like my old self again. I have a couple of people that are also trying to help me, like speed things along. But it's I'm trying to take things one step at a time.
Right. So I just want to say that victims are not to blame. So we're not blaming nobody here as far as victims. We are blaming the ones that decide that they want to go online and they want to hurt people, and that gives them pleasure. Um, the thing is, it's sad because it's not only just online grooming, but as I said, it's grooming also in person. You do have people that come into people's lives and they're young. Like, we just recently had a situation where it was a singer who groomed a girl since she was 11 years old, and she was 14 when she unfortunately was murdered. And this guy is in his 20s, but he had been grooming her since she was 11. So it happens in person and it happens online. There's been plenty of situations I've seen not just Savvy situation, but also online situations where I've seen people finally come out and say, hey, I was groomed at this age or whatever. But what makes me upset is the fact when somebody does decide to finally come out and say something, how there are so many negative people that are always they have something negative to say, but you don't understand the person's feelings and you don't understand what the person went through and how hard it was for them to come out and say what they had to say. So that's the only thing that makes me so upset about social media is that these things happen. You know, you have people that fakes that they're celebrities. I mean, Catfish had been on for how many years, where you saw people using other people's pictures and they were online and they were texting these people. They never couldn't be on a video or something like that. But then when the person finally gets revealed, it's not even the person that they were talking to. So that's why that was one huge thing I always told Savion. I was like, Savion, I know you like to be online and things like that, but these chat sites and these like Discord and you know, Twitch and all these sites, because Savion is also a gamer. So Savion is like huge on gaming sites and things like that. So he like had a following and things like that. And just this whole thing has like just, you know, and it's not just this, it was some other situations too, like he said, with his friends or friends, as I told him, because if you're a real friend, you would still be like 100% down with him. So, manipulation is not a consent. So the thing is, you threatening me to do something, you're manipulating me to do it, but because of my age, I'm now realizing that this is something that I shouldn't be doing. And grooming is an intentional psychological control. It is. I don't care what nobody says. You are in your 30s trying to groom somebody in that's a teenager. I just don't even know what to say about that. I think that is the most disgusting thing in the world besides rape and things like that falls in those categories, you know. So my thing is, this is sad. This is really sad that this is going on every single day. There's somebody online right now that's sitting up here grooming somebody, thinking that that's cute and thinking that this person, oh, they're not going to tell on me, so I'm just going to keep on manipulating them and I'm going to have this narcissistic behavior. And, you know, they think that's, you know, until they get exposed. So my thing is, when me and Savvy talked about this, and I told him, I said, hey, this month is mental health awareness. I know, you know, everything you've been through. And Savvy was like, no, Mom, I want to tell my story. That's why I told him, I said, no, you're going to come on the podcast. We're going to do this all bets off. I want you to tell your story and how you feel. And I'm going to make you comfortable. If it's certain things you don't want to talk about, we're not going to talk about them. But the thing is, I commend my son because the fact is he has been through a lot. And, you know, like I said, he's shown receipts, he's apologized, he's done a lot of things, and people are still assholes. So um, I have to apologize. My nose, and I've been doing that all throughout this podcast. But um, the last thing, Safi, I want to ask you is, what do you want people to remember about hearing your story? Like, what do you want them to remember as far as you and your story, and what do you think will help? And my nose is itching. What do you think will help as far as when people hear this and they, like I said, they might be going through this situation, they might not, but it's still awareness for them in case something later on down the line might happen. So what would you want them to remember after hearing your story?
We're all victims in the end. We're all going through something, whether it be not grooming, grooming. It doesn't matter. We're all going through something, and I want everyone to feel like you have a voice. You're heard. You're not alone in this situation. You have a voice. Very much you're very much heard. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what the other person said. I don't care if they said, well, maybe it's because of the way you dressed. Maybe it was this. Maybe it was that. Don't listen to
They do
them.
say that. Mm-hmm.
Don't listen to them, because in the end it's all BS. They don't know what you're going through. And if they did, they wouldn't say stupid stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you're a victim, but you can also become a survivor. And if you can do that, then you have absolutely nothing to worry about.
And if you are dealing with a situation of having suicidal thoughts, there is a suicide hotline. Also, talk to people, please.
988 to be specific.
Yep, Savy just gave you the number. Um, and I'll actually probably have it like down at the bottom, where you put all the information at, because I feel like with this month happening, there's so much going on in this world, and so many people are going through a lot. And I feel like if you just listen instead of always being an ass and always trying to make people feel guilty for how they're feeling, then maybe people might like you. You know, you don't have to manipulate somebody or groom them for somebody to like you. Now, like Savy said, unfortunately, with his situation, he was not giving those feelings back because that's not how he felt. So this person decided, well, since you don't feel that way about me, I'm just going to make you, feel bad. And I'm going to make you feel guilty and manipulate you and stuff like that. And I'm really glad that Savy did come out and finally say who the person is, what they've done, and everything like that, because it is going to come out in the end. This person is going to get in trouble, you know what I'm saying, because he deserves it. He's been doing this for years. Savy is 25. Savy dealt with this when he started, what, 16?
Apparently,
Yeah.
he's still doing it.
And he's still doing it. So that's why I said we were only going to say the name once, but if y'all caught the name, I mean, I'm to the point where I put his ass up on the screen. I got a picture. That's how I am. I'm very passionate when it comes to my kids, especially if they've been hurt. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a mental health advocate. I am certified in that. So the thing is, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do when it comes to my kids and anybody else's kids. That's the type of person I am. So, on that note, I'm just going to be real with y'all. This episode was not easy, but I feel it was very necessary. Um, I hope really this conversation, even if it helps one family communicate better, one person feel less alone, and one parent become more aware, it mattered 100%. And like I said, this young man right here, this is my baby. This is my save a lot. This is like, for real, me and him ride or die. Like when he was a baby, I took him every freaking where because his older brother was in school. This boy went everywhere with me. We have a very close relationship. Very close. I'm very close with all my kids, even my oldest, even though, we have our moments. But Sadie was literally like my first kid that I had him everywhere with me. And as he got older, Savy could come to me and talk to me about everything. So that's why I guess when this happened and he finally said, Mom, I need to talk to you about this situation, I was very shocked. I was like, out of all things, Savy felt he didn't feel comfortable enough to come to me about this. But I'm glad he did. I'm glad he told his story. I'm glad it's out here. You know, and I'm glad this was Mental Health Awareness Month, and he was able to feel comfortable enough to come on my podcast and talk about it. I really do hope that this does help a family communicate better, as well as um, make parents become more aware of what's going on online, and also we just got to be more aware of our kids as far as what they're doing. I mean, he's 25 now, and I'm still on his ass. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you online? Are you checking stuff? That's me. That's just me. I'm going to be like that as long as he under my roof. When he moves, unfortunately, I won't be able to do nothing about that. But now he under my roof, I'm going to always see what he doing. But On that note, thank y'all so much for tuning in to A Gal from Cleveland with Tamika Shanea and my special guest, Savion Robinson, my second oldest. And we're coming to you from Cleveland with love and a little bit of wisdom. So, on that note, love y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Make sure you like and subscribe. And on that note, bye.
See ya.